We must start here with something that was a great watch. I think everybody was watching this tournament and rooting for Phil Mickelson, wanting Phil Mickelson to be victorious, wanting to be a part of history. Who doesn't like to be a part of history? It's fun. I get it. I love all that stuff. All right. And I, too, was rooting for Phil Mickelson because it was awesome to see. It was a throwback. It was a vintage performance. Phil Mickelson beating all these other top players in their primes and doing it at 50 years of age, becoming the oldest player in the history of golf to win a major. Phil Mickelson actually talked about it with CBS afterwards.
This is just an incredible feeling because I just believed that it was possible, but yet everything was saying it wasn't. And I hope that others find that inspiration. It might take a little extra work, a little bit harder effort to maintain physically or maintain the skills, but gosh, is it worth it in the end? And I'm so appreciative to be holding this Wanamaker trophy.
Yeah, and by the way, the only other person that was more excited than Phil Mickelson was Jim Nantz calling the tournament because he realized he was calling a sporting event not next to Tony Romo. So just want to point that out. I just want to point that out. Jim Nantz is probably thinking to himself, man, this is kind of nice being able to call a tournament and not have some guy yell out wrong plays in my ear the entire time. It's kind of a nice feeling. You know, it's kind of a change of pace for Jim Nantz. So good for him, good for CBS, and good for Phil Mickelson. Everybody wanted to see him win. There's not a single person alive outside of Brooks Koepka and Brooks Koepka's friends that wanted to see Brooks Koepka win that tournament. I'm not trying to be negative. All right, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. And if you want to give me the whole, oh, my God, it just happened, let us enjoy the moment. Why do you have to go here? First of all, nobody died. Second of all, who cares? All right, let me just say this. It was great for golf. Okay, it was great for golf because we got to see a vintage performance and a well-known, recognizable player dig up some of the great play he had in his prime and do it on a big stage and win a major. So from that standpoint, it was great, and us getting to experience it was great. But how great was it long-term? And I ask that question because think about this, all right? If I were to say to you, name the 2 or 3 or 4 most memorable golf moments in the past couple of years, what would your answers be? Tiger Woods winning the Masters, Phil Mickelson winning the PGA Championship, Tiger versus Phil at the, they had that little challenge or that match play that they did. Then there was Tom Brady against Peyton Manning, and Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson were partnering up. Like, you're looking at all these great moments, and all of them have a similar theme. They're all guys who are either on the later stages of their career or getting ready to say goodbye to their career. And I don't see a lot of great stories and memorable moments from any of the new guys that are on the tour. Any of the younger players on the tour, I don't see it. I don't know if that means that it's a terrible thing for golf moving forward, but all I'm saying is, off the top of your head, think of great, memorable golf moments, and none of them apply to anybody that's on the tour currently that's in their prime. None of them. And the fact that one of the memorable golf moments was Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson teaming up against Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning. You needed 2 golfers past their prime and a couple of quarterbacks in their 30s and 40s. And that's the most memorable conversation that we're having about golf. I'm just saying, it was a wonderful experience. It was great to watch. I was rooting for Phil Mickelson as well, too. But I can't help but think, at some point, you got to turn the page. At some point, there's got to be somebody else that people rally around. And it doesn't feel like golf's got any of that stuff. Dana White has always said this about the UFC. When they ask him, hey, now that this star here is moving on, who's next? Whether it was Chuck Liddell or Ronda Rousey or Anderson Silva or Conor McGregor, and Dana White's answer is stock. Every single time he gives the same answer. We'll figure it out. Somebody will come along. Somebody will pop up. And every single time it has. Every single time when you think there's not a star, there's nobody you can rally around, there's nobody there. Every time they've been able to deliver. And in golf, we're just kind of waiting for it. Just think about the great moments. It's all guys who are well into their careers. Sergio Garcia wins for the first time. Why is that a great moment? Because Sergio Garcia has been doing this for a long, long time, and we know who he is. I don't know what's to blame for it. I don't know if it's just that they're not getting the exposure that maybe they need, or golf's not as popular as it was back in the day. And maybe, these guys, nobody's got a flaw. Nobody's got an attitude. Look, I like Brooks Koepka. I think a guy like Brooks Koepka you can rally around. I mean, think about this. Brooks Koepka finishes second to Phil Mickelson. Everybody is celebrating Phil Mickelson winning the PGA Championship. And Brooks Koepka was complaining because he couldn't get through the fans to get to the 18th hole, to get to the final hole, and kind of threw out the possibility that somebody might have intentionally hit his knee that he just had surgery on a few months ago. That's something golf needs. All right, you need somebody that's not going to play by the rules. If John Daly could have just figured it out and kept it on somewhat of a straight line, John Daly would have been a massive star. He had all the talent, he had all the baggage, everything that would have gone along with it. John Daly would have been awesome for the sport. Would have been great. But it feels like we're just kind of recycling the same names over and over again. And at what point, when those guys move on, where are we at? In the NFL, there was a big concern a couple of years ago. People were talking about, hey, man, Tom Brady's getting up there in years, and Peyton Manning just retired, and Aaron Rodgers is in his 30s, and, Eli Manning's going to be leaving soon, and Ben Roethlisberger's in his 30s, and we don't know how much time he's got left. And what did the NFL do? They rolled out Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're good here. We're good for the next 10, 12, 15 years. In golf, I don't know that you are. I really don't. So just ask yourself the question. Outside of Tiger Woods winning the Masters a couple of years ago, Phil Mickelson winning the PGA Championship on Sunday, the match tournament they had, and then the pairing of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and them going at it, and us all getting to watch during COVID when everything else was shut down and people had already blown through Tiger King 4 times before they realized I'm getting depressed because I'm looking at a guy who's a meth addict who's got wild animals that bite him from time to time. Like, just think to yourself, what's the moment you look at when it comes to golf and you go, hey, what are you talking about, man? You're missing. You can't. There's nothing there. So it was a great watch. It was a lot of fun. People felt like they were really excited just to be allowed outside, and social distancing was completely and totally violated, and I'm okay with it. That's fine. At some point, we got to move on and get back to normal. It was awesome. It was great to watch. Really, really entertaining. I myself, in saying all this, was rooting for Phil Mickelson. I wanted Phil Mickelson to win, and I don't know anybody that was rooting for Brooks Koepka or Louis Oosthuizen or any of these guys that were a threat come the final couple of days of the tournament. I'm just saying, it feels like we're seeing the same names over and over again. And if you're golf, you got to wonder if moving forward, that's a little bit of an issue.